Hi, I'm Mads, and ever since I was 5 years old, I've curated Fakemons, and it's time to remake them all. Join me to create the Hydonso region.
Today we'll get a glimpse into the future. If you're a long-time viewer, you know that I have talked about this documentary many times on my channel, and I have created several Pokemon who have taken inspiration from the Future is Wild documentary. In this episode, we'll make several Pokemon that are directly inspired by it. You see, my idea comes from the way Piloswine evolved into Mamoswine, which happens once it level up knowing the move Ancient Power. So let's make Pokemon that evolve once they learn the move Future Vision. This video marks the first regional form of an already existing Pokemon that I have created for the Hydonso region. Well, at least for my remakes, that is. And that Pokemon is no other than Torkoal. Honestly, I never really cared much about Torkoal, but I have known for years that I wanted this Fakemon I made in 2005 to evolve from it. This big scary tortoise with a jar made of sand on his back. I will say more about it once we get to its evolution. Torkoal is known for its smoke, so let's turn that smoke into sand clouds, which was the biggest challenge with this Pokemon. I do really like the idea of sand coming out of his nose like snot, but ultimately decided to go with sand clouds around its nose, at least for his official art. Still imagine that it can do so. This Torkoal is slightly bigger than its Hoennian cousin. Is that how you say it? Hoennian? I also want it to be more carefree because it doesn't really have many predators since it's hiding in the sandstorms that it and its evolution creates. So give some love to the Hydonsoian Torkoal. Torkoal, the sand tortoise Pokemon. Ground type. Ability Sandstream and Sand Split. Hidden ability Water Compaction. Dex entry. Hydonsoian Torkoal is bigger and more energetic than its Hoennian cousin. It produces 20 tons of sand per day. They thrive in sandstorms and are often the cause of it. It is believed that Hydonsoian Torkoal came to be due to a previous civilization using it for glass production, and over time the sand merged with its DNA. For a shiny, it has its Hoennian colors. What do you think about Torkoal? Do you think I did a good job? Let me know in the descriptions below. And like while you are there. Now comes the fun part. Let's evolve Torkoal. This is of course done after it learns the move Future Vision and level up. Doing so will give you Torapad. It is based on a jar made out of sand that I got as a kid. It had a lizard on top of it, and I loved it so much that I created a fake Pokemon out of it that I named Sandpad. And Sandpad looked terrifying. But I have always known for the last 10 years that I wanted to make it into a Torkoal evolution. So a few early versions were made that was a combination between Sandpad and Torkoal. But honestly, I didn't really like it. Originally, this line wasn't planned for this video. But the other fake Pokemon line that was planned kinda evolved away from the theme of the video. I looked through the planned fake Pokemon to see if I could match up with another Future is Wild creature. That is when I got the idea of basing it on Torradon, the giant future tortoise. It turned out to be the perfect match. It quickly took the shape of an older and wiser Torkoal. But I had a problem. I felt like its massive size couldn't be supported by all of this sand. So doing research into, for example, camels and how they successfully walk through the sand, you see their feet are specially made so that their weight is evenly distributed so they do not sink into the sand. This is where I realized that there is another Pokemon who have the same inspiration with its toes. Hippowdon. Look at its feet, or its toe rather. How they spread out is based on this same idea, to support its weight so it can be in sand. So once this problem was solved, it was very easy to create this Pokemon. I have further pushed the idea that now sand is part of its DNA and played up on this carefree nature due to its massive size. It ended up looking quite different from Sandpad, but you see the inspiration clearly. Here it comes. Torapad, the future tortoise Pokemon. Ability Sandstream and Sandspit. Hidden ability Water Compaction. Dex entry. Hydonso and Torkoal got a glimpse into the future, causing it to evolve. Few have seen Torapad as they wander the desert only during sandstorms. On clear days it's speculated that they burrow into the sand. It is known as the Desert Bringer. They're quite clumsy. And of course its shiny is directly inspired by its 2005 design. And for its name origin, it is tortoise plus Toradon from The Future is Wild plus pad, a thick piece of soft material, which of course in this case is sand. What do you think about this Pokemon line? I am so happy to see this Pokemon being remade and finally putting it out there, a vision that I had for so many years. I just didn't know that I had to combine it with one of my favorite shows of all time. And you might be quite hot from all this desert talk, so let's go to the ocean instead. I want to create a fish Pokemon, but a normal boring one. This might sound strange, but technically every region has its regional fish. I'm thinking about the Magikarps and Feebas and etc. And the Hydonso region will be no different. It's based on a fish I made in 2014, and I've called it Shish. Its name is probably the most interesting part of this Pokemon, which is made up the word Kjedelig, meaning boring in Norwegian. And I say it in a way that mock Norwegian dialects, because it's fun. And when you write it down, you have the word fish in it. And its design is loosely based on a submarine too. Maybe not so boring after all, eh? Other than that, it's just a boring fish called Kjedelig, the normal fish Pokemon. Water type. Ability Klutz and Normalize. Hidden ability Hydration. Dex entry. There isn't anything special about this Pokemon. It lives its life wishing for something better. It has no real enemies since most doesn't even consider it worth eating. Kjedelig is even bored of itself. Its shiny doesn't really have any specific meaning to it, it's just slightly different. A truly boring Pokemon, unless you evolve it, which is done when it uses the move Wish. Then it turns into Dreamwing. It almost sounds like dreaming. It's also based on a fake Pokemon I made in 2014 and is of course a flying fish. And if you are a Future is Wild fan like myself, you know where this is going. I made this whole line after watching the documentary for the first time. And since its pre-evolution takes inspiration from a submarine, Dreamwing takes inspiration from airplanes. And of course also bird wings. It was the easiest Pokemon to grade for this video as I knew exactly what I wanted. But its wings went through some alterations. And I really wanted to show how happy it is in its design and how happy it is to just have its wish fulfilled. The feeling of true freedom. And of course this is what inspired its name. Dreaming, Dreamwing. Honestly, I think it's a great word pun and I love it. Be amazed by. Dreamwing, the flying fish Pokemon. Water flying type. Ability Forewarn and Swift Swim. Hidden ability Hydration. Dex entry. Its wish came true. It burst with anticipation and excitement. It now spends its day riding the waves and fly through the air for short distances. In the Hydonso region, seeing one is considered a good omen, that all your wishes will come true. Its shiny takes inspiration from gold feathers, but also has the same colors as its previous evolution. So of course you already know how to evolve this Pokemon. It needs to learn the move Future Vision and level up. This will make it evolve into Fleetsih. A really difficult name, I know. It comes from the word air travel, future, plus fish and flish, the name of the flying fish in the documentary, which is kinda a mascot of some sort for The Future is Wild. I really love the concept of flish. flying fish that has evolved to live outside the water is so cool. Just like its pre-evolutions, it also takes inspiration from some sort of transportation, in this case stealth plane. And at the same time, it kind of ended up being inspired by parrots and birds, which in a way is okay because then it's kind of my own. But I didn't expect that it would be so difficult making a flying fish inspired by the flesh that doesn't look like a bird, that kind of ends up looking like a bird. And of course there are certain things I could have done to make it look less like a bird, but I kind of like this uncanny, familiar balance that I have here, that I feel like fits Pokemon. Because honestly, the flesh design is quite simple, and I could just have copied it, but I wanted to make it my own. And it was really easy to make it creepy, so I wanted to put some cool elements into it, which was the bird aspect, because in the end of the day, Pokemon looks like friendly creatures, right? So that's why it's based on a parrot also, to have that familiarity yet alien looking kind of design. Is that shock, like, is that a parrot? No, it's a fish. I love that. Watch out, here comes Flytih, the future fish Pokemon. Flying water type. Ability, adaptability, anticipation. Hidden ability, hydration. Dex entry. A spontaneous evolution happens when it sees the future, causing it to adapt to a life outside of water. It shoots its mouth to grab its prey. Even though they have evolved to live outside of water, it still needs to keep its skin hydrated. Therefore, they are a rare sight away from bodies of water. They live along the coast of the Hydonso region, taking over the territory that Wingulls used to habitat. The shiniest colors comes from the jungle flesh, which is a different species of flesh. What do you think about Flytih? And here we have the whole Pokemon line. I really love this ID. Which one is your favorite? As much as I like Flytih, there is something about Dreamwing that just are so beautiful to me. Which Pokemon from this video is your favorite and why? Have you seen the Future is Wild documentary? And if so, do you think I did the design justice? And remember, they also take heavily inspiration from my early designs, which is the whole point of this channel, to honor my old designs. And as usual, here's a hint for an upcoming video. What do you think it will be based on? This is not the first time I have been inspired by The Future is Wild, so if you like more of that, I recommend this video and I recommend this video. See you over there. Thank you so much for watching. Check out my social media and let's recreate them all in the next video. Man's out.